Hey, if you are a purchaser of the My Kind of Thing Unicone Lovey, Ice Cream Unicone Lovey pattern, this video is for you. Just teaching you how to crochet the granny square portion because I actually create my granny square in a not so typical fashion. So if you have this pattern, this video is to give you additional support for this cute little ice cream unicone lovey. Okay, so let me just get started really quickly. So basically, I don't skip any stitches in between each cluster of 3 double crochets. So the pattern is actually explains that when we start our square, it starts off as a circle. We start off with 12 stitches in the ring, and the next row is the second row is only corners. So it's basically 3 double crochets, 2 chains, 3 double crochets in the same space. We're creating a square, so we have 4 corners. So the first row is just the 12 stitches in the ring, and then we divide those 12 stitches by 3 to create 4 corners. So in between every 3 double crochets, we're putting a corner for the second row, and then we kind of just work it outward, increasing in corners only, and that allows it to increase in this granny square shape. Now the trick is we don't use chains in between. So when we create our clusters of 3 double crochets, we do not use chains. We just do our 3, move on, do our 3 double crochets, that is, and we move on. The only time we're chaining is when we get to our corner, and the corners are 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets, all in the same space. That's the only time we're chaining. And when we close up our row, we go in both the front and back loops of the chain 3 that we initially started the row with. Each row begins with a chain 3, and this chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. And then we proceed to do 2 more double crochet stitches. See? And that creates our first cluster. And basically, we work this all the way around to the other side. And one of the cool things about not using the chain in between the clusters is that you're able to move faster, and you don't have to worry about forgetting whether or not you chained in between. Now this is just the way that I do my granny square. You do not have to do your granny square this way, but in order to do the trim that I've done with the design, you do have to do it this way. So if you want the trim that is part of the pattern, you will have to do it this way because the math adds up in such a way where the only way you'll be able to get it to match the pattern is by following this method of using the granny square. And so just to show you what the trim looks like, this is a trim. It's a shell stitch, but it's a specific combination of stitches that allows the shell to look like this on the sides and like this in the corners. And so you will have to have the right amount of rows, and you will have to have the right amount of stitches per row. That only occurs when you have no chains and your clusters of 3 double crochets. So if that's the trim you want, that's what you're going to have to do. Of course, you can always improvise and do your own thing. I welcome that. I think that that is always an option. But for those of you who use patterns and use them completely as directed, this is for you. And so, as I said, not having to do chains in between the double crochet clusters allows you to move a little bit faster. And we do this for 16 rows. So you should have 16 rows starting from the first row of 12, that first row where you initially have 12 stitches in the ring. You should be able to count up from the center and have 16 rows. And I can even show you what the number is for how many double crochet stitches you're supposed to have. And of course the pattern will also indicate that. And then there will be another video. There's another video that goes along with this Lovey pattern because of the level of difficulty or complication of what I did to create the wig cap, the ice cream wig cap. I think it's important to give you all visual support for the pattern because it may not be that clear to understand if you have no experience or if you're not extremely advanced or experienced in crochet, specifically creative crochet, because while I use traditional stitches, I use them in a not so common way. So none of the stitches and things are made up, but the techniques are in fact innovative and important and necessary to the design. So this is for just moving freely with the granny square. We're just gonna, this is row 16. This is the last row. I also want to show you all how to do the trim. So that's one of the reasons that this video is a little bit longer than usual. But you can always forward, pause, you know, come back to it, especially if you have the pattern in hand. The pattern is going to be released today at 5 p.m. And so getting ready, I'm just putting the photos together to support you additionally. And of course, if you've purchased any patterns from me, you know that I'm pretty accessible as it relates to the patterns and any confusion about what's written. But you see, and like I said, when you hit the corners, that's the only time you increase, and that's what creates the square. Increasing in the corners only, increasing in on the side using 3 double crochets, 2 chains, and then 3 double crochets in the same space. And these are usually referred to as cluster stitches because it's a cluster of 3 double crochets, which creates the unique granny square look. We're almost there. And once you get the hang of this, these granny squares go really, really quick. So that's the exciting part about it. You know, it's relaxing. You get that muscle memory going. And you can kind of breeze through the blanket part. So there are elements of this design that's pretty easy. And then other elements that require a little bit more concentration. Last corner. 3 double crochets, then chain 2, then 3 more double crochets. Now here's the thing, because I'm going to change my color to white, I'm not going to finish that double crochet stitch. I'm going to get my white yarn and then I'm going to slip stitch by going both in the front and back loops of that chain 3, right? Hold on. Front and back loop of that chain 3. Slip stitch. Okay, now for the trim, chain 2 initially, that counts as your first single crochet stitch. Now we're going in the tops of the stitches. We're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch, then a double crochet stitch in the next one, and then 2 treble crochets in the next stitch, and then 2 more treble crochet stitches in the next stitch, then another double crochet, then another half double crochet, and then a single crochet stitch. And so that completes our first shell stitch. And you have to have the right amount of rows, and you have to have no chains in between in order to create this edge. And so basically this is the stitch combination that we're doing. We're using single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, 2 treble crochets, and then 2 more treble crochets in the next one, then a double crochet, then a half double crochet, then a single crochet stitch all the way down to the end. And this is important because in order for us to get the proper edging, you have to have the right amount of rows. Let me move this out of the way. And so you have to have the right number. The reason why I chose to do a shell combination of 8 stitches, meaning that it's single, half double, double, 2 treble, 2 treble, double, half double, single. That's done over the course of 8 stitches. The reason why is because this is a 4-sided figure, right? And 4-sided figure automatically gives me the understanding that it's whatever stitch combination I use should be a multiple of 4. 8 is a multiple of 4, so each shell is done over a series of 8 stitches. So, and that's just how I apply the math to what I do, right? So, single crochet, half double, double crochet, 2 treble, two more, double, half double, single. And we're going to do this all the way to the end, to the corner. And I'm going to show you the trick about the corner, because this is important. I don't know how well it reads in the pattern. It's so much easier for me to teach and show than write it, because sometimes the way my brain comprehends doesn't necessarily mesh with how crochet is formally written. And so it just makes me, just feel like I have to also do visual support for most of us who are visual learners. But so as you can see, I'm doing my treble crochets, right? Double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet. Now, here's the thing. As we're approaching the corners, you may find that there are occasions where the corner will cut you off from your shell pattern. What you're going to do is you're just going to maintain that ideology, right? So here we go. Single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, 2 treble crochets, right? 1, 2, 2 more treble crochets, right? Now in this corner, we're going to do 5 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now remember, where we ended before we did our 5 for the corner, we had just finished our 2 sets of treble crochet, and then we're just going to continue right on and do our double crochet and our half double crochet and our single crochet. And so basically the 5 treble crochets in our corners are just a break from the pattern. We continue right on with the remaining part of the shell pattern. So you just pretend almost like you didn't even have these 5 here. You just finish up the stitch pattern. And so I'm going to do it one more time just to show you how you have to move. So again, single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, 2 treble crochets, and we're gonna go all the way down to the corner just so that you can see how this works out, because it may not be as clear in the pattern. You know, sometimes our brains perceive things differently, or we're set or accustomed to reading things a certain way or looking at things a certain way, and so sometimes we have difficulty seeing formats that are not typical. And I'm going to be honest, my kind of thing, my goal is not really to be typical. The goal really is to give you a perspective of crochet that is not necessarily common or typical. I want to inspire and ignite creativity, because crochet is a very old art form. And because it's a very old art form, I think it'd be really cool if more of us were more innovative. I mean, it's cool, the you know, tradition of it, but we can do more. We can use different colors and different stitches and different ways, and I think that's important. So this is my perspective, and I have some really great patterns that are available for purchase in my shop, with a heavy focus on doll making, specifically creating dolls of color with different things or crochet techniques that mimic black hairstyles, and using more than just brown yarn to create dolls of color, specifically black girls, because that's really important to me as a black woman. And so that's why a lot of the designs that you will see that I create will be reflective of that. They will have brown skin tones and really cool crochet techniques that will depict black and brown hairstyles and textures. And so, you know, that's really important, especially since everybody's talking about diversity now and trying to implement diversity. This is real diversity. This is not just talk. I'm a black woman who creates black dolls for black and brown people, right? And so gotta do it, right? So single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, two treble crochets. Right? Now I'm here at the corner, so I'm going to do my 5 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, where did I leave off? I only did one group of treble crochet, right? So that means if I only did one group, that means I still have another group left that I have to continue, right? So 1, 2, right? And then I'll get back to my double crochet, half double crochet, and single crochet. See? And that creates the cute roundness of that corner. And so understanding that this is what creates the shape and the corners of the Lovey. Just being mindful that the 5 is only in between. Whatever the pattern was, you're still going to continue with the pattern throughout the row. And so definitely feel free to comment, give this video a thumbs up, follow the My Kinda Thing University on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and learn all kinds of really cool tips. If you have the patterns, there's loads of videos that will help you to figure out things in the pattern that are not necessarily common or typical. A great source of support for finishing up the design. So let me know what you think.